Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to another video. Today, I just wanted to have a little chat about my history and like the things that have helped me the most to become a better singer. I have a past where I grew up in a musical household. Both of my parents were professional musicians. My mom played the classical guitar. She was also teaching at the conservatory. After kindergarten, every single day, my grandmother would pick me up and bring me to my mother's teaching room at the conservatory. And until she was done, I just hung out there and I was quiet and I maybe just listened, and it was beautiful music. It was classical guitar. She also played at the opera theater. So she played the guitar. Yes, there are parts for guitar. For example, in The Barber of Seville, there is a part where he sings to Rosina. The Count sings to Rosina at her balcony, and that scene, he sings an aria that is accompanied by a guitar. And of course, the singer himself doesn't play the guitar as he's singing. He just acts as if he were playing the guitar. So my mom took me many times and I would sit in the orchestra pit and I was so wowed. It was just magical to be there and to watch the beautiful singers. They looked beautiful. They sounded beautiful with their costumes and their amazing voices. And then in the middle of the orchestra, well, kind of to the side, I sat always on the back end, the very right side. When you're looking in from the audience, we were right where the entrance is, where the conductor will come onto, not stage, but the orchestra pit. And it was magical when everyone started playing and they were all, when there's an orchestra and they're all warming up their instruments, they're all getting started. And then the next thing that happens, the oboe will give the pitch and then everyone else will tune for a minute or so. And then everything will be quiet, the lights dim, and then the conductor steps out onto the podium there, takes a bow, everyone claps, turns around, lifts the baton, and then the overture starts playing. That was all in the overture for The Barber of Seville. So beautiful. So that influenced me big time. And my dad was a singer. I feel like that had a lot to do with me already having a really good ear for music and to listen and recognize things in music. I think the ears, we call them ears, but really a musical ear has nothing to do with your ears per se. It's more a matter of your brain interpreting what is coming into your ears, because your ears are really only the input device. Your brain is the interpreter, and your brain tells you, is that high? Is that low? And the first thing I can tell you is you're going to have to start listening differently. When I started listening, that was my number one thing, how I learned. I listened and I recognized things. I realized things. I noticed things. And all those details are the things you can work on. There's no way you can work on anything unless you actually recognize those things. For example, you listen to a song and unless you recognize that last pitch is short, or that it is staccato, or that it's legato here, that it's louder here and getting softer there, and there's a slide downward or a draw back, like an upward scoop. Unless you hear that and you recognize that, you notice those things, when you sing the song, you're not going to do these things. They're going to not be on your radar. And that's the first thing that I feel that I have always done really well, which helped me make fast progress. It's that listening differently. Listen to all the details. You don't want to copy anyone, but the first step to really becoming a master is to watch the masters. A lot of painters, the way they got started was actually copying paintings from amazing artists, is because you want to learn the technique. Like, what did they do in order to create this? And it's the same with singing. You can figure out what did they do in order to create this sound? Are they using chest voice? Are they using head voice? Are they scooping? Are they sliding? Are they connecting? Where did they breathe? How did they breathe? How did they look? What did they do posture-wise? What are they doing with their mouth and their jaw and their arms and their hands and their shoulders and the head? What are the things they do? How do they use coloratura? How do they do the ad-libs? Is this one heavier? When does it lighten up? Is it all equal? How do they shape the ah? What are they doing in order to have this amazing open sound? Do they lift? How do they lift the soft palate? What do the lips do? All those things you can watch and listen. And unless you notice these things, you're not going to have them on your radar. And you're going to be kind of like this beginner student. Like everyone who begins something, it's really hard to have everything on your radar because you don't even know all the things that are possible. Once you become more aware of all the things you can do, an entire world opens up to you of possibilities and options that you have. And in music, there are literally endless options because even when I sing a song, I will probably never sing it twice the exact same way, because you have a slight different interpretation every single time. It never turns out exactly the same. It's almost like when you're baking without a recipe or cooking something without an exact recipe, which you can. It's never going to be exactly the same twice, but it's always going to be good if you're good at it. And it's the same with singing, with music. Ask any artist. They might do it similarly, but never twice 100% the same. Your brain just isn't in the same place every single day, and also your body is not.
Hey, if you are a singer who wants to start making money with your voice, or you have started to make money but you feel like you could do so much more, I have created a 2-day weekend workshop only for those who are very serious. Right here in my studio, I will rock your world. I will get you out of your comfort zone. I will help you find your uniqueness and essentially create a brand as an artist. We're going to work on singing things, but also mindset and business. Check out the link below for when the next one is happening, and I hope to see you there.
Another thing that really helped me with pitch accuracy is recording myself. I was pretty good already all the time with pitch accuracy. I never had really big problems, but recording myself made me aware of so many more details. And we're back at this topic of awareness. Unless you listen and you have those things on your radar, you're not going to know. So while you sing, there's only so much attention you can give to the actual output of what comes out and back into your ears, because at the same time, you're processing the execution. And as you're processing the execution, you can't equally process what's coming back and assess and actually scrutinize and judge what has just happened. Because if you do, you're not going to be able to sing really well. So do the performance, then record, then come back and listen and be the judge and take note of the things you did like or you did not like. And when it comes to pitch control, singing very close up into a microphone really helped me when it came to like popular repertoire. When it came to classical music, also recording helped a lot, but also singing in large spaces where I hear a lot coming back at me. And of course, having feedback from others. Sometimes as you sing, you don't realize that you might be slightly sharp or flat. And it does help to have someone on the outside helping you out a bit if you don't know which direction. Which brings me to my next point. Actually, having a coach and having someone to teach you is a huge game changer. You can do so much yourself, but there's only so much you can do. There is a limit. You can only do the things and fix the things you're aware of that you need to fix. Now, anything that is outside of your knowledge base isn't going to be anything you can address. So having a teacher who has a broader knowledge base and more experience than you have is going to expedite your progress, because they're going to put on your radar things that you have maybe never thought about or you haven't tried them, and they may want to try a different approach. I noticed that with every single student, it's different. Every singer is different. I'm different from other friends of mine who are also professional singers. They're amazing, but the way they learn is different from me. I go a lot by listening and being aware, and they might go more by just doing a lot more. Or maybe some go by looking at sheet music. Some need to visually see the sheet music, make notes, and they learn like that. For me, it's a lot of listening. That is my main path of memorizing and learning and awareness about music. So find out what your number one pathway is to learning, and then you can expedite that by doing more of that. And I would be very interested to know, what are the things that you are mostly aware of about your voice right now? Like, what are your biggest strengths And what are your biggest weaknesses right now? Because I would like to know that level of awareness that you have. When you say something like, the high pitches are my problem, that's very general and generic. That shows me that you have more of a surface knowledge, which there's nothing wrong with that. If you're more of a beginner and you don't really know about the theory behind singing yet, that's something you're aware of. When I notice that high pitch is a problem, I probably would word it differently. I would probably say something like, because not all high pitches are the problem, I would say something like a high pitch that is in the middle of the phrase is difficult because I feel like I'm losing the connection and my support. And that is something I'm working on. So see how just the way you're describing it, the way you're describing the problem already shows you something about that level of depth that you're in when it comes to the knowledge of how am I approaching this? What is the path to improvement? You have to have a path to improvement because it's never enough just to say, oh, my high pitches suck. I'm really bad at high pitches. Teach me high pitches. There's a lot that goes into the high pitches. It could be the support. It could be the breathing. It could be the connection. It could be the openness, the soft palate, the pharyngeal space. Maybe you're not placing it right. Maybe you're very narrow. You might be putting a lot of weight against your vocal cords. There might be too much pushing outward. A lot of different things can go into why a high pitch. See how even in the description and the definition of the problem, it already contains the solution or the path to your solution. So let me know in the comments. And it doesn't matter if you are not aware, you just tell me, I feel like I'm breathy. And if that is the level of awareness you have, then that tells you that you need to dive deeper. Don't be ashamed. There's no judging here. Everyone is where they are. And you know what? Actually, I was a pretty good singer. And when I started at college, when I started my very first voice lesson, it was all Greek to me. I had no idea. It was like placement, openness, pharynx. What in the world is all of that? You don't have to know the lingo, but it's the description of it all, where lingo does help you even in music when you tell someone, like, do this, like describing music and actually having the right words to express something in a very brief way that, you know, like a rallentando. That is a short description of something, or a decrescendo, instead of like gradually getting softer. We know what we mean when we say those things because they are terms that describe very specific things in music. But I would be interested. Let me know in the comments. What is the level of awareness and what is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness right now? All right, my friends, until next time, don't forget, always keep a song in your heart and always keep on singing.